2026 marks the final year of this generation of Toyota Supra. The sun is finally setting on the Mark V. See what I did? I thought it'd kind of be cool. And although Toyota hasn't told us what they have on the horizon, I thought I'd take some time today to give the Mark V a proper goodbye. We're going to talk about what worked in this generation, what didn't work in this generation, some of the stigma that came behind it, and some of the things I think Toyota should improve for the next generation. So let's talk about and give the flowers to the Mark V Supra. Let's talk about the downsides of the Mark V first, and the biggest one is that badge on the back. This car was built and heavily designed by BMW, a German manufacturer. This car was built in Austria, not Japan, and that riled up a lot of fans. They didn't feel like this was a real Toyota product, and they do have a point. If you pull off the engine cover, you're gonna see a lot of BMW badges. The engine, the B58, is a BMW engine. The 8-speed automatic transmission is a ZF, which is sourced through BMW. This, for all intents and purposes, is a BMW. However, I've never personally cared all that much. A lot of people really care a lot. I don't, because it's still a great driving car, but that stigma never really left the Mark V Supra. And though it appears as though Toyota is starting to break that relationship moving forward with their sports cars, this always has that blue and white badge hanging over its head, and I don't think it ever really got away from it. One of the first real problems that I see is with these side mirrors. Because of the shape of the window, when you drive at about 40 miles an hour, there's this awful buffeting sound that sort of was in the entire interior. Now, this has been a problem since this vehicle debuted in 2020. And in my personal opinion, Toyota should have recalled every single Supra and added a little winglet to help cut down on that buffeting noise. They will sell it to you from the factory for this final 2026 model year, but in a $4,000 appearance package that comes with matte paint and graphics down the side. I think day one, they should have recalled every single one of them to add that, because it is an absolute oversight that they didn't do that, and it is the most annoying thing. This is a 2026 Supra Final Edition that doesn't have the appearance package, and it still does it for over $70,000. I still have to go on to Etsy and buy little winglets so my $70,000 sports car doesn't make a horrible eardrum breaking noise. That is a huge downside of the Mark V. Easily fixable, of course, but I shouldn't have to fix it. That's the point I'm making. Another big issue is under the hood, but luckily not under the hood of this car. In the early days of the Mark V, you could buy these with a 4-cylinder turbo, a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. It was essentially a Mini Cooper engine, and when I say essentially, it was a Mini Cooper-esque engine under the hood. Now, they discontinued that due to low sales pretty early on, but the reason I say that's actually a downside of the Mark V is that I think that they had an opportunity to build a really cool car. Picture this, a 2-liter turbo Mark V Supra, smaller screen, steel wheels, no fog lights, a real base model. It would have been perfect for tuning, and it would have been an amazing opportunity to bring back the Celica name, since in the 1970s it was the Celica Supra, and the Celica was a more down-badged version with a 4-cylinder, while the Supra got the mighty 6-cylinder. That would have been perfect to do, however, Toyota didn't seek out that opportunity. And I think that was a missed opportunity. If they could have gotten that number below $40,000, maybe very, very minimum $40,000, it would have opened up a lot more opportunities for this chassis that I just feel missed. However, this B58 is an absolutely amazing engine, and I love it so dearly, so I'm not complaining about you. Don't worry, it's not you, it's your little brother sibling that they cut short. I don't know, I felt like that could have been something interesting. The last big downside of the Mark V was the price. It had always been the price. It started off in the mid-50s, and this final edition, even with its automatic, is $70,000. This is an expensive car, and of course, that is before the Toyota dealership markups. Toyota dealers are kind of notorious for marking up their product, and so you'll find some of these with a $10,000 markup, $20,000 markup, so you're now looking at a $90,000 sports car. that just doesn't really fly. And so dealers are able to mark them up because they only get allocated a few of them because the demand was low. But the demand was kind of low because these are really unaffordable. So it was kind of a snake eating its own tail. They started building fewer of them because they were getting fewer orders, but they were getting fewer orders because the dealers were marking them up. And so you have the money problem here for the Mark V Supra. Now, Supras were always expensive. If you look back to the 90s, the 1994 Supra Turbo was like $50,000 in 1994. So these have always been kind of expensive, but I do think that that particularly hurt this generation of Supra, as well as because of that BMW engine, maintenance costs are a little bit higher to get those parts. So not as Toyota friendly as they used to be, but this car has a couple big upsides, so let's talk about those. The first big upside is the transmission, not necessarily this 8-speed automatic, although the ZF transmission is actually pretty great. It's the manual transmission that they later offered. They did a limited run of the manual, they found great success in it, and now a lot of Supras come with the manual transmission. Toyota actually had to develop the manual transmission, which isn't something that companies do anymore. Almost no companies are putting any money into research and development of manual transmissions, but Toyota did for the Supra. So that just goes to show that we do have a little bit of sway in the market. If we beg enough, they will make a manual, much like Nissan is considering putting a manual into their Nismo Nissan Z. So keep asking automakers for manuals and keep buying them, more importantly, because the Supra actually changed the tide on that one. However, there is really just one big upside. It's the way this thing drives. At its final edition, it makes 382 horsepower. It did receive about a 40 horsepower bump after the first few model years. Whether you get the 8-speed automatic or the 6-speed manual, it shifts very quickly. The exhaust is very lively. The rear end is playful. And I think something that just gets missed or skipped over is the fact that Toyota built this at all, that they put any R&D into a rear-wheel drive 6-cylinder sports car. Companies aren't doing that anymore. This segment doesn't make them any money. I actually asked the GR team at Toyota, the Japanese engineers who helped design these cars, and I said, I have to imagine your profit margins are rail thin. And he said in broken English, profit margins, we're in the red. They sell these for nearly a loss. People this day and age in this economy just aren't really buying sports cars. And so the fact that this exists, the fact that I can get into a 2026 model year Toyota Supra is astonishing. And we asked for the return for the Supra for so many years, and they finally gave it to us. No matter what little badges you find under the hood, no matter who manufactured the engine or chassis or where this was finally assembled, I don't really care if the workers on their lunch hour were eating sauerkraut or sushi. It doesn't matter to me because this car drives so good. Oh, good grief. Oh, man. It puts a smile on your face, you know? Oh, man. So call it a BMW, call it whatever you want. Toyota sold a great car for a good amount of time. They listened to us and they put the manual transmission in it. They gave us a nearly 400 horsepower rear wheel drive sports car with a manual in 2025. This is a dying breed, and so I'm just happy that I got any time with it at all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Mark V Supra. It has been an absolutely wonderful journey, and in all honesty, I felt like I kind of grew up with this car. I started doing reviews full time in 2020, and I was so excited to review this originally. I was buzzing the first time I got to drive the all-new Mark V Supra. And now, as my career has gone on and the car has gone on, it's finally time for us to part ways. I feel like I was there at the conception of this car, and now I get to see it in adulthood and the retirement home. And so, huge thank you to Toyota for not only loaning me this final edition of the 2026 Mark V Supra, but for flying me out to California to drive this on the racetrack, for giving me all of the press loans. Thank you to Toyota of Naperville for loaning me the 4-cylinder Supra back in the day, and I got to take it home and show my friends and family. I had a red Supra. It was pretty cool. And so this car will be dearly missed. I don't know what Toyota has up their sleeve next, but I'm very excited to see it. And the Supra name carries a lot of weight, so I can't imagine this is the final chapter in the Supra badge. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you again, but not you, my friend. Take care and be well.